presenting The Art of Not Giving a Fuck with Garrett Daun.
All right. Welcome to another episode of The Art of NGF, Victim to Adventurer podcast. And tonight we have a very special guest back again. Welcome to Ben Settle. Thanks for coming on the show, Ben.
Well, thank you for having me back, Garrett. I appreciate it.
Right on. Always a pleasure. I always get excited about these talks. So wanted to start off right away just with some special questions from a guy who's been a client of mine and then also a client of yours. Well, you don't have clients, but a customer of yours who's an Email Players subscriber. And the first one he mentioned was, how do you make your Facebook group the best on the planet? It's by far my favorite to read, but I hated the last one. What did you do
Interesting.
different? Yeah, I thought so too.
That's usually the opposite. Usually it's like everyone wants the lair back. And and it's like, oh, Ben, you're toning it down and not do. Because it's not a group, it's a blog.
Right.
That's all it is. It's a blog. And I'll say this. I will say this. And I'm not trying to hide it this time. Like last time I knew I was going to shut down El Bembo's Lair months before I did it, but I didn't tell anybody because I didn't, I thought it's really nobody's business what I was doing. But I probably will be shutting this one down by the end of the year, not because I'm trying to like piss anyone off or anything like that, but because I'm creating a whole new game plan for my business. And it actually includes having less of a social media presence. And that's a whole other thing. But it's weird having less of a social media presence in some ways and more in others. And it's very strange. And so it is. But yeah, but as far as like how I did it, and I, this isn't going to do any of your listeners any good, Garrett. Sorry.
That's okay. It's still fun.
And Andrew, and I don't know when this is going to be aired or not, but Andrew will have the answer to this question in the July Email Players issue because it's what I wrote about. And it's just too much to kind of go into in like an hour talk, but basically it's a blog, and it's what interests me. I don't let anyone else post in there their silly horse shit and anything like that. I don't have to worry about I don't have to moderate anything. There's nothing like that, and it's great. But I think I'll give you the short version just for the listeners. I think it's kind of mean for me to do that. Actually, it's kind of like even by my standards, it's kind of bad. But I'll say this. I'll just say this. You want to give your Facebook group its own agenda and personality. So here's what I mean by this. And what I'm about to say is after many discussions with someone who's very, very insightful with personality types, Stephanie Arroyo, and like these are some of her observations back when I did my old group, and I found this very helpful. So she's like I don't know, Gary, you probably remember El Bembo's Lair. It was basically like we were fighting each other. Everyone was fighting each other in there. But if I put a link to something external that pissed everyone off, they'd all go there, and they'd start fighting everyone. And I was starting to get like in trouble. But people were like, Ben, why are you sending all your people over here to what? I'm not. I'm literally just posting a link to what you said, and these guys are like, and when she said, she goes, Ben, what you have is like a Vikings den. Like you guys are all sitting around drinking beer and mead and sharpening your swords and fighting, getting in fights with each other. But then when you have an external enemy to fight, you all rally and go fight that person, then come back to the Vikings den and fight each other again, which is it was the best analogy I've ever heard. The one I do now is nothing like that because, that's fun for a while, but it's like, this is just a blog. It's more of a talk radio show. Some people, I think, should have something like a reporter's bullpen, like if that's what they want to do. Yeah. Some people could be like a comic book convention, right, where you're just geeking out over something. For some people, it could be like a poker game, where you're just talking shit and having fun with your butt. Like it just depends what you want to do with your personality and the kind of people you want to attract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to actually not just have a random group with a bunch of people posting random bullshit, which is really most of the groups I see out there. But to have some idea of what the hell the purpose of the thing is.
Yeah, and it's got to be around your person. It can't be to please anyone else. It has to please you first. And like the person I learned a lot from about Facebook, like he's the person who really got me doing it. is my friend Dan Meredith. Now, if you go to his group, Coffee with Dan, it's been around for a very long time, and he's very good at running it. It's like a pleasant pub, right? You just walk in, you have a beer, and everyone's helping each other and answering each other's questions. I would hate that personally. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think for him, it's absolutely perfect. And what he's trying to do, he gets clients that way. But for me, that'd be miserable. So you have to base it around what's going to make you happy, and what's going to excite you. And then that will be it'll trickle. Your happiness will trickle down to everyone else who wants to hang around in there.
Right. You've mentioned that about writing when you're writing emails too. Is that if you're having fun writing it, then probably people will have fun reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So the next question Andrew has leads us into what I had for somewhat of the purpose of our show, which tonight, which is ultimately to provide some amount of relief for both men and women in this sort of war-torn, SJW-ridden
favorite topic,
United States. And I don't know how far it goes. It's probably in a lot of other countries as well. But I notice I'm in Croatia right now, and it does not extend to
I didn't think it did.
Even remotely, and the people that are aware of it just mock it, both men and women. The men aren't even aware of it at all, and the women are like, oh, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit.
Well, it's like a plague. It'll get there eventually.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There are colleges, so they're not immune, but they've had war in their memory still. So they've had
actual wars, and like exactly. The stuff we talk about, we've had it such peacetime over here that it's just silly. Everyone has it so cushy and easy. It's not always going to be this way, but they just don't. They have to make up stuff to be dramatic about.
Exactly. Yeah, we're here. They're like, wow, it's relaxed now. Let's take it easy until that shit starts again. Yeah. So Andrew had a couple more questions related that can kind of lead us into this. One was, would your villains book be a good antidote to what he calls SJW syndrome?
Well, it is. Here's the problem. No SJW is ever going to read it. What they're going to do is they'll read the description or they'll read something about it, and then they'll give it they'll badmouth it, because that's what they do. They don't actually read the books. They just know it disagrees with their worldview. It must suck. And in fact, it got so bad Amazon had to start changing their policy. Partly, I'm not gonna say it's just because of them, but just like dumb reviewers in general, or like reviewing books they haven't even read, and now they make it so you have to be like a verified purchaser, I think, to even comment, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
So they're not going to read it. Here's the thing. It's like medicine, right? Nobody takes medicine until they're sick. So until these idiots like come to a place in their life where they're in pain and they're looking for answers, they will not want anything to do with it. But when that happens, they'll be looking for it. They'll be in the right mindset to receive it, and it'll be fine. And it's not an impossible task, by the way. I mean, I've seen the change happen to certain people. It's not like it happens to everyone, but it's like anything else. Like, you don't talk to someone about religion until they're on their deathbed. Then suddenly they want to know. But when they were partying and living it up, they really didn't care what you had to say. I mean, you can go ahead and try. It's not going to hurt. But until someone's sick, they're not looking. Until they have a headache, they don't reach for the aspirin. And so when they're ready, they'll have it. And until then, they won't. But I mean, they would be horrified by that book. And good. That's the whole point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's always an excellent book. If it anything of value that I've come across that's altered my life in some way was horrifying in some respect, usually at the beginning of coming into the new information and realizing how much I was unaware of.
Well, remember in the movie The Matrix when he realizes he's in the Matrix and just immediately throws up.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's the reaction, that's what happens.
Yeah. That's a great analogy, yeah. So let's see, one other thing from Andrew in the same vein. He says, the concept of the personal mission that you describe in your villains book seems to fit really well with the reclaiming of personal power that we see happen in the undoing work that we do. Can you tell us a bit about how you came to put your own personal mission above everything else in your life? And he adds,
go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so the full thing was, what was it like before, and what is your life like now? And how does someone know they have the right mission? It's all kind of the same question.
Yeah, well, You'll know you have the right mission because you won't be able to not think about it all the time and work on it all. You don't have to force yourself. You don't have to make yourself get up. You won't need an alarm clock probably. You won't need any of that because it's on your mind constantly. You leave the house and you go do battle every day to accomplish it. You come back exhausted and you're ready. You can't wait to do it again the next day. If anything, you have to hold yourself back. And instead of having to be, you have these people go to these like accountability groups, all this stuff. It's the opposite. Not only will you not need an accountability partner or group or anything like that, you are going to just automatically hold everyone in your life accountable to you who has anything to do with this mission. And if they aren't accountable to it, they have to be jettisoned. And you'll ruthlessly curate your life. You'll ruthlessly curate your friends. You ruthlessly curate what you consume on the internet, whether it be social media or otherwise. Like people who are, spend all day popping off to porn or whatever, and they have a mission, that goes away. They don't have to be told. They don't have to be weaned off it. It's like they have this mission in life. And that's how you'll know you have it. And if you don't have one, that's okay. Because not your first mission is to find your mission. And that should be your mission. Because once you have that, understand something, everything changes. Everything changes. I don't care where. This is why it's the first most important lesson of that book, because without it, nothing else works. You have that mission, suddenly you're putting that on a pedestal. You're not pedestalizing a girl. You're not pedestalizing you're a boss or anything like that. You're pedestalizing your mission. That comes first and foremost. And when you do that and you start you're automatically, this is not a tactic. It's not a trick. You just automatically have to curate your time, and you're going to withhold interest from people, which automatically makes you more valuable to them once you withhold. Now, if you try to do it as a trick, it backfires. But if you legitimately have something to do, think of it this way. Here's an example, and I'll just take this from like a dating point of view. There's this guy named Roosh. I'm sure you've heard of Roosh. Roosh V. Okay, it's like in the pickup artist world.
Oh, yeah.
And he has this really good article, and it's really short. And I mean, he wrote it years ago, but it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. He said, "Why I hope she flakes." Okay. And he's like, when I first started doing this, right? Now his whole mission in life is just to get laid, right? So, but take it for what it is. When I first started this, I would spend all day and all my time hitting on girls and putting up with a lot of disrespect because he's trying to get notches in his belt, right? So that was his goal. He goes, but, you get a lot of rejection that way, too. And it's just a numbers game and whatever, He goes, but then I start building my business, and now that's becoming more important to me. It's like I fill my schedule with so much work because now his mission is like build, I think, this publishing empire, right? It's changed. It's not just to get laid anymore. It's like he's got something that transcends that. I don't want to speak for him or anything, but this is kind of what I got from it. And he's like, now it's like, I kind of hope this girl does flake on me. Like before it pissed me off. Now it's like, I got so much to do. It's like I'd rather work on my mission. Now, when you get to that point, you become automatically more attractive to everybody, whether it be someone of the opposite, well, for guys at least, the opposite sex, or whether it be just people in your life, friendships, family. It doesn't really matter. People love someone who's got a mission, who goes after it ruthlessly and dogmatically. Some people try to obviously bring you back down because it makes them uncomfortable, but you're not going to care what they think. Like once you get a mission and you absolutely find it and are pursuing it, all the other stuff that plagues you, insecurities, neediness, everything, it goes away instantly because this is your main thing, and everything else goes against it. Even all your war stories, you're going to want to talk about your mission while everyone else is talking about what was on, the Kardashians or whatever. You're like stuff that just everything becomes horseshit to you at that point. You just don't care. And you're going to find that people find that very attractive. There are going to be people who want to follow you, whether it be a girl you like or whether it just be employees or business people, whatever. It's very attractive. It gives you, a kind of power that most people never have.
Yeah, that's really true. I've noticed that since being in Croatia. There was we had talked a little privately that there was a few months I sort of think I was taking a break on the mission, or something else was gestating, and then the newer, bigger ideas that are an extension of what I've already got going on started coming back to life. And then as soon as I got here, I couldn't even go to I went to some public event to see some extreme sports like bicycling and stuff, and I couldn't even go to something like that without somebody sitting next to me and starting to talk to me about business and they had the exact same plans and ideas that I had no idea how to execute, that they're already doing. And then they were super excited because I was super excited, and now they're working it out so I can come to, I might be able to move here in relation to that mission. And it was something I couldn't even have thought of, but just started happening all around me. And then they wanted to introduce me to their business guys, and it just started snowballing into that, just from having this mission on the pedestal, as you say.
Absolutely. You know what it does? And I was just thinking as you were talking about that, what a mission does is it gives you positioning. Now, positioning depends what context. It gives you very solid positioning where you're coming from a position of strength in everything you do. Whatever it is you want to do, like you were just talking about there, because of your mission, you were in a position to take advantage of that. Had you not had one, you'd just be flitting around or whatever, and you might not even have known there was an opportunity there. In Wing Chun Kung Fu, for example, positioning is 99% of the battle. If you have the right position, you're going to win the fight. But if you have like crappy positioning and you're off balance and all that, you're going to lose, even if you know all the moves. So it really just sets the tone for everything. It's like planting your feet. You're ready for stuff that comes at you. You're ready to move out of the way if you have to. You're ready to strike if you have to. There's many analogies to business with this, but it's what I believe that's what having a mission gives you. It gives you that positioning just in life in so many ways.
Right. Yeah, I can completely feel it in all the experiences. Yeah, and like you said, it contextualizes everything that I'm doing, whether I'm hanging out or going to the bar or meeting different people, and I can tell who fits into it and who doesn't, and they immediately become more attractive to me and more interesting. And then the people who aren't are just easy to ignore.
Yeah, like the goofy person that you might have originally wasted time with. And it's like, why would you even bother? You're like, this person is not bringing me close to my mission. They got to go. And it sounds cold-hearted, but this is life. People change friends and acquaintances all the time. You got to do what's going to take you to where you're wanting to go. People can either come along for the ride and be successful with you, or they can go back to wherever they do. There's no shame in either one of them.
Right. And what I've noticed is that they seem to just fall away in some way too. I haven't had to make that much effort. The mission itself seems to almost make these things happen. You become unattractive to people who don't want to succeed and don't want to put that effort in their own life, and they seem to just fall away. There's times I've had to shed people deliberately, but it's been almost automatic over the years that when I get working on things that those people drift away and the other ones come in, and a lot of things become more effortless.
As it should be. That's
Exactly.
positioning.
Exactly.
You have the right positioning. That's like in Kung Fu. I'll keep using this analogy. My Sifu's like, it's not how fast you are, it's how quickly you get there. Like you can be but if you're positioned right, it looks like you're fast, but you're not. You could be, slow, but because if you're positioned right, you win. And it's the same thing.
Right.
Less effort.
Yeah. Very cool. So to connect this up, I think that is one major solution and relief for maybe for guys and for women who feel like they're suffering under the Me Too kind of cloud that's covered the U.S. and possibly Europe, Western Europe at least, in the last few years. And as I think back, I think it's been going on maybe 15 years, but it's picked up a lot more steam, I'd say, and a lot more publicity.
Well, you got social media now where everybody gets attention now. Oh, me too. And nothing even, and what it does is it overshadows the real problem. Like people really have had the problem. Mm-hmm. And now it's like most people are crying wolf. So it just diminishes everything. There's nothing good coming of this. Not the hysterical part. I'm not saying there's nothing good with like people getting caught, but this it's hysterical. It's hysteria. You got people's reputations being ruined by a Medium article now. It's not how it's supposed to work. You go to the police, you go to the law, you go to a lawyer. You don't go to Medium and tarnish start slandering people.
Right. And I forget where I heard this today. Oh, it was Bill Burr. I mentioned I was listening to a lot of him today, thinking about this interview, and he was mentioning when Arnold Schwarzenegger got into some trouble. And this was before the Me Too thing, and I guess Arnold must have handled it because I never even heard about it. But was something where he slept with his maid or something.
Oh
like
yeah.
And
Well, you like Bill Burr. You got to listen to his 2012 stand up where his gold digging horror thing.
Oh, right.
And he talks about Arnold and it's really very fascinating because he's like, Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of those few like truly great men brought down by a gold digger. It's like, and he went through like why this is a great man, right? Like this is a great man. This guy came from, wherever, Eastern Europe, couldn't speak a word of English, came over, becomes a movie star just for lifting weights, right?
Yeah.
He can't even like pronounce the name of the state he became governor of, as he puts it, and then he marries a Kennedy. Like he's just checking everything off this list of like great things. Like this is a great man by any stretch of the imagination. You have to like him, but to say he hasn't done great things is ridiculous. And he goes, this guy should be unloading trucks in Transylvania, but he's here doing this, And
Right.
But anyway, you would love that if you because you heard that story and he talked all about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was I loved his take on a lot of these things, and comedians are sort of on the leading edge of some of the attacks and some of this battle with the SJWs. Like they're getting banned from college campuses and getting having to sit and decide. Like I heard Doug Stanhope talking about. He's like, I used to be able to just say this fucked up shit and it would be fine and everyone's okay with it. And now I have to like have a lead up to the lead up to the lead up and make sure everyone's coming along and understanding before I can say the real joke. And
Seinfeld was even talking about that a few years back, that it's like this is not a good trend because comedians, it's only funny if the reason it's funny is because it's based in truth. Comedians that are not funny, like for example Margaret Cho, who has like nothing. I mean, I used to duplicate tapes. This is as a job. Now this is like 16, 17 years ago, whatever. But we used to run her stuff. There's nothing like an hour long, not a single funny joke. Even the audience is like uncomfortable because they couldn't. She's just not funny, and because there's no truth to what she's saying about any of her stupid political jokes. But you get a Bill Burr up there, he's got you rolling, or Chris Rock up there. They have you rolling on the floor because there's truth based in whatever they're saying. And now you can't speak the truth without offending somebody.
Yeah, it's amazing. Speaking of that, I read an interesting article. I took a few clips from it. I forget who published it, but it was they asked people it was NBC News. They asked people anonymously to put in quotes about their experience since the Me Too thing got going. And there's a few from women that I thought were very interesting. Maybe we can riff on some of these. One was a female who does audio video for live events in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, age 53. She said, I've worked in male-dominated fields my entire working life, over 2 very different careers, and never had any issues working with my male counterparts. I'm not oversensitive about rough language, dirty jokes, and actually enjoy the male-female working interactions I've had. We always respect each other and pal around just fine. So I haven't changed one aspect about how I work with men, other than possibly reassuring new men I meet that I'm cool with men being just the way they are, occasional warts and all. I thought that was a nice and refreshing perspective.
They're going to have to. This is what's going to. This is my prediction. Take it to the bank. I would bet money. The backlash against this is not going to be fun for women at all.
Yeah.
You're already seeing it. Nobody wants to hang out with them. Nobody wants to be in the room alone with them. Nobody wants to work with them. Nobody wants to meet one without their wife present, and then they bitch about that, saying, well, that's not respectful. But, these, for example, Mike Pence, the vice president of the United States, he's had this policy even before the Me Too, which I thought was an interesting policy. He goes, I don't meet with any female, lobbyists or anything without my wife with me. And the feminists, they freak out. Oh, it's so disrespectful to women. This guy is being the most respectful to his wife he possibly can be. He is a man, arguably the second most powerful man in the world in some ways, by title, if nothing else. And he's one button away from being president. If something happened to Trump, he's going to have nothing but females throwing themselves at him just because of that, because of his position of power.
Yeah.
And guys don't have Girls don't understand, and this was also, it's funny that we're talking about this because this was also in that Bill Burr gold digging horror thing. He's like, you don't understand the pressure on a guy like that. Like we're not used to that. We have a head telling us to do it. You know,
Right.
They don't understand that because they grew up their whole life being hit on by a bunch of guys they don't find attractive. But guys generally find most girls somewhat attractive in some way. It's a totally different dynamic. So I think you're going to see more of that, which is just going to make it harder on women overall in the workplace and getting jobs and all that. Because why do you want to risk a lawsuit hiring someone? Now everything's a walking lawsuit potential. And you have to be careful of that now. Luckily, I don't have employees or anything. I don't have to worry about it. But
Right.
I don't see the backlash being and it's going to get really bad when some of these guys start suing back and the discovery phase happens. And you see just how many other guys have been wrongfully, accused of stuff. And these girls it's not going to be pleasant for them. I'm just saying they need to stop this shit. They need to police each other because I'm not saying bad stuff doesn't happen. I'm just saying this hysteria part is never a good thing. It's not good for anybody or anything. It never has been. And that is my humble but accurate opinion on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it will definitely swing back in the opposite direction. And
it's going to swing hard. It's not going to be pleasant. And I'm saying, like, guys that basically haven't done much. It's just going to take, once you get your reputation ruined or something, then you got nothing to lose at that point. You might as well. I mean, someone's going to slander me. I'm definitely going to go after their asses, and I'm not going to and I don't care how much they have or don't have. I'm going to go after it because examples need to be made of people going I one of these organizations I really support, and then not just with Facebook likes and stuff, but like with my own hard-earned cash, is called the Innocence Project. And they've gotten over 400 people out of prison who were wrongfully in prison because they did some DNA checking and all that. 400 people.
wow.
Most of these are in there for rape and murder. And they didn't do a damn thing. Their life has been ruined, basically, because of a false accusation. And I have a feeling they're going to get really busy now with the Me Too thing. And it's not good for anyone. Now, if you have a real problem, that's why you go to the cops, you go to the police, you go to the lawyer, you do it through the proper legal channels. You do it through your HR department, whatever. But to sit there and just publicly slander, it's just not good. And it's just making it harder on those who really have gone through some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's going to it waters down any actual cases where someone was treated poorly or treated like shit in that situation.
Absolutely. And you've seen us debate that, on Facebook and all that. And it's it's a never ending battle.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, the Innocence Project is really cool. I really admire what they're doing. And I think it's extremely important. Just, you can't leave these people rot, especially in the U.S., which is... Oh,
God, can you imagine that? It's bad enough being in a prison. I don't even believe in prisons. So just imagine, okay, prison's bad enough. But you're there and you didn't do anything. That's got to be the worst thing. And, I just can't, I can't imagine a more, that is to me hell on earth, the thought of that. And
oh, yeah.
So, and they didn't do anything. They literally didn't. They were just at the wrong place at the wrong time or the wrong color at the wrong place. All this shit happens. And it's it all starts from these false accusations. And all this is going to do is ramp that up even more.
They've been talking about that since the book of Job. I recall... Yeah. When he's suffering and he's been afflicted because of this wager between God and the devil, all his friends come around and they're like, well, you must have done something wrong.
Yeah.
Because
40 chapters of ratchet job bullshit,
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's everyone's just, well, he's in prison, so he must have done something, and then they're forgotten and reviled forever.
Oh, it's terrible. You even see that. Now, this is a little off topic, but I mean, it's on my mind now. Is I'm on this quest to get some more merchant accounts because you can never have too many merchant accounts. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how many of them will just decline your application if they find out you already have multiple merchant accounts. Oh, you must be up to something.
Yeah.
You could have I have almost no chargebacks, but I must be up to something. Mm-hmm. It's idiocy. And I think I don't know, this guilty till proven innocent thing is becoming bigger and bigger, and I don't see that as a good thing.
No, I think that's really kind of insane. I know there was something that came up in your Facebook group about the Medium article that you mentioned, and that guy. Yeah. I'm not sure where that has gone. If there's now a legal battle involved with that or not, but before there was no legal battle at all when that article got published, and then the guy's shows all got canceled.
Based on the word of someone, and he wasn't even named in it, in an article, he wasn't even named in. And this is what I'm talking about, these stupid studios and all that. If they start catering to this stuff, it's just going to empower more false accusers to keep doing this, which again, the people who really have been attacked and everything, it just waters everything down. No good comes from this. All that they get out of this is attention, and they get the drama queen and all this other stuff. And it's not, I read that Medium article, and I mean, she, I'm not saying the guy was a saint or anything, but she sounds like she's pretty screwed up in the head too, and then why they would just take her word for it after some of the crap she had even admitted in there is amazing to me. Yeah. It's just amazing. You're going to cancel shows from this guy. Just now, if she has a case and she takes it to, a lawyer and there's something there, fine. By all means, do what you got to do. But it's like, it's a work. When are people going to protect their employees? Where's the loyalty at?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That was insane to me that they canceled his shows and everything, and without even issuing a comment or anything. It seemed just, I don't think they should even comment on it. They should just say, well, we don't know who this is about. Oh, they actually didn't even demand a comment at all. They could have just waited and see.
Right, but they didn't. They want to cater to all these fanatics, and it's not even a lot of people. It's a very small, vocal minority of people that do this. Right, it's like anything else. It's a very small group that makes most of the noise in any area, right. And that's all it is. It's not like the average girl is not sitting there accusing people of stuff, but they make it look like that, and it's not good.
There were some studies done about lynchings.
Lynch mobs is basically what it is.
Yeah, there were some studies done about lynchings, and I know Mark Twain brought up, even in the story Mysterious Stranger, he brought up the same kind of idea, and it's around the world in the different literature. But that in a lynch mob, what they found is that usually there's one, maybe two people out of 20 or more who actually are stoked on going to kill the guy. That's what they want to do. They're fired up and they're going to do it.
Bloodlust.
But then almost everyone else there is not into it, but they're kind of afraid to not do it because that guy's really angry, and they just end up going along with it. But that the vocal, extremely minor numbers of vocal people end up driving some of these things, and I think Me Too has been completely hijacked in that way.
So we're like the Marxists, like in Russia. It was only 3% of the population. Right? Look what they did.
Yeah.
And the Nazi Party is very small. What is it, 9% of the voters? Something. That's how he won. Hitler won. I mean, it's always a small group, and that's why. Most people just want to live their lives and be left the hell alone. Yeah. And so they don't pay attention to this stuff. And I don't blame them, but this is how evil things gain power. Right. And they tend, and the louder someone is, probably the more they're trying to hide something of their own. That's like right now, like at the time of this recording, we have Maxine Waters out there basically inciting riots, saying to go harass anyone who works for the administration. If you see him, you go up there and you pick it outside the restaurants. And all. She's borderline inciting riots. Like if you listen to what she's saying. Yeah. Guaranteed she's hiding something. And because by shouting at someone else, she gets to hide what she's doing. And she's like been under investigation for years for stuff that just has never been pressed. And I don't know. The louder someone is, the more they point the finger and accuse, the more I wonder what they're up to.
Well, you see it with, I was thinking about this today, you see it with the vice cops and the vice prosecutors where they're going after the drugs and the prostitution, and then half the time they end up catching them with drugs and prostitutes.
Yeah, right.
It's and then sometimes
yeah, exactly.
Like sometimes the evangelical preachers, not all of them. I actually have some respect for certain sects of those types of people. I don't have any problem with it as a whole. But sometimes these ones who have the let's turn the gays straight at our camps, and they're being vocal against it constantly, and they're all sweaty and intense, and then suddenly they catch that guy with a male prostitute with meth in the car,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is what I'm saying. The louder someone is, the more. And I'm not saying it's always the case. Like someone might say, I have a secret prison probably somewhere, because I was talking about that. Yeah, I have a secret prison in my house. I imprison like people for no reason. But But it's true. Like the louder, like it doesn't mean all the time, but yeah, there certainly have been enough cases. Or that one dude, that 22-year-old kid, college student who's like started an organization against violence against kids, and he's sitting there like soliciting, child pornography and all that. And it's like, it doesn't surprise me at all. Not one bit. Does not surprise me one bit. It doesn't surprise me one bit. Even some of these people caught in Me Too, some of these hardcore SJW like reporters and stuff like Matt Lauer and all that. Now, I don't know what's going on with any of these two. And I always say I would not be surprised if these people did do what they've been accused of, and Charlie Rose and now what Tom Brokaw. I don't know what happened with that one. But these things kind of come and go. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they did do something, but it's the way in which they're getting, witch hunted is what I don't like. It should be done to the proper channels. And and I know people will say, well, it was 20 years ago. Well, then how are you going to prove it? So you're going to go on Medium and like that's your way of getting revenge? Like it doesn't make any sense. All they're doing is everyone who goes out there and publicly accuses somebody of something without any proof, do they realize that they're making themselves virtually unemployable in the future? Who's going to hire someone like that?
Right.
I wouldn't. And it may not be happening now because people are scared and all that, but I'm telling you, eventually it ain't going to be pretty. That's all I can say.
Right. Well, that's one of the good things, I suppose, that can come out of all this is it makes me very happy that I don't have a job.
Yeah, me
it
too.
seems like an even worse place to be than it was whenever 20 or some years ago that I used to try to do that for life. So I'm not envious of people that have to rely on working in these environments at this point.
Yeah, me neither.
There was one other quote I wanted to bring up. This was a woman in a tech startup in Silicon Valley, where I'm sure this stuff is hot and heavy.
Yeah.
I stay away from that entire city as much as possible. All cities.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah.
Hashtag me too.
There we go. I knew that would have to come up.
I was just sitting there. He was that one.
No, I love it. So she says, she's 32. She said, I'm a woman and Me Too has screwed me. In Silicon Valley, it's really hard to get time with venture capitalists, so you do whatever it takes. A lot of time that would be meeting with them at a bar in the evening. It's good networking, and that's how I got my initial seed funding. But now no one wants to meet with a woman under 40. Even in the office, they won't be alone with you. I'm a big girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't need this patriarchal assumption that anything might upset me and make me bring a lawsuit.
Well, I sympathize with that, but she has to go to the sisterhood there and start shaming them because until and there's more of her than there are of the shrieking, weirdos out there. They have to take back their gender. They have to say, look, we're not, they need to be the ones to call crap out. We shouldn't have to do it. That Medium article should have been called out by maybe it was actually, I don't know, and probably was actually. It was so fanatical, but they're girls like her are the ones that have to do this. Like their businesses depend on this, and they can't sit there and blame the guy, the patriarchal assumption. Or we have to protect her. I'm not going to meet with a girl alone. Screw that. I don't like talking to people as it is, but I mean it's not really a problem for me. For people who it is, yeah.
No, I actually have never had a problem meeting with men or women on any level. And there's been people who hated me that told me to fuck off and didn't want to hang out anymore. But it was never
better that than being accused of something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. So yeah, maybe I'm just not in the right places. But I don't think it is as common as it looks on the media. But then again, nothing is as common as it appears on the media. If you believed the media as your only source of information, you'd be terrified that someone's going to murder you all the time in your house. It's
like looking up a symptom on WebMD.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Look at medical photos on Google all day. Yeah. But I mean, I hitchhiked across the U.S. and Canada through many, many states, the North, the South, all different places, all different people, men and women, Christians, crazies, meth heads, everything. And nothing, and I might be lucky, but nothing really bad ever happened. And everyone I met, whether they had weird views or not, was still friendly. And most people were being kind to each other. If the news was to be accurate, they would have to spend 98% of it saying, well, today, most cars in the world didn't actually crash. And,
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
almost all the planes landed just fine, and almost everyone is just living their life and didn't kill anybody. Now, here's a few examples where this went awry, But we get the opposite, we get the opposite of that in the news. And I think that it applies to Me Too just as much as anything else, the Me Too movement just as much as anything else. Because it's going to be sensationalized, it's going to be blown up. But what they're missing, they're not reporting like, okay, the Ozark crew, that's one of my favorite shows. The Ozark crew is very, very happy with each other. They all have a wonderful time working together on every episode. You can see it on Instagram. These guys are wonderful. They're happy. They're great. Down to the camera people. The editors are happy with it. You just never hear, even once, about a show or a group of people working well together. They just don't even exhibit the opposite of what they're complaining about.
Oh, that's a good point. And us marketers would be out of a job if that was the case.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. I was thinking about that before today, that if people weren't all depressed and filled with anxiety, then my work would be done, But then again, I'd be having a good time with all those people who aren't depressed and who are having a good time, and I'd figure out other ways to do it. So, I'm not against that happening, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Well, it relates to the mission too. A lot of the media, I think, and even this SJW stuff, like you've mentioned in multiple places, you can ignore a lot of it without much bad happening to you. Unless it's happening directly in your life and you have to handle it, you can pretty much ignore it and see it as a distraction from the mission, whatever that mission is.
But it's good to be aware of it, because what happens is people get caught with their pants down, so to speak. I'm not talking about literally here, but
sometimes literally, like Louis C.K., right?
Well, that's the thing, and people don't know how to handle being attacked. They just don't, because for whatever reason, most people wake up in the morning and they probably they're not expecting that. So I think of Sir Tim Hunt. Now, he was that Nobel Prize winning physiologist. He's very, very smart scientist. In the UK, and this was a few years back, and he made some joke about women in the lab, right? Like either they fall in love with you or they hate you or something like. It was actually not the funniest joke in the world, but there was, he didn't really say anything other. That was about as malicious as it was a joke. And he was after that talk, he went on a plane ride, and there was some unstable SJW, like literally mentally unstable. She turned out to be SJW in there, who tweeted what he said out of context, and by the time his plane landed, he had already the university that he was working with had already decided to disassociate themselves from him. like this guy's career went down like the tube because of some deranged freaking SJW. Now, he didn't know how to handle that. So what did he do? He did the worst thing you can do. He apologized, which is like throwing blood like chum in the water. What he should have said, go ahead and force me to resign. I dare you to force me to resign. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what really happened. And there was audio footage of it that came out, and the women in the room were laughing. Mm-hmm. Like nobody was mad except the stupid lone SJW, person. And it's like, but see, he didn't know how to handle that. And if you have a mission in your life, you really don't care. Like that shit doesn't bother you. Say, I don't give a crap. Okay, so a bunch of losers don't like me. Good. Mm-hmm. It's like, good. And if they want to demonize me, let them. I'm going to turn it into reasons to buy. People troll me, I turn it into a reason to buy. I mean, it's a gift if you know what you're doing. And if you have a mission in life and you're working toward that, these things don't bother you. They just don't have time for you. You don't have time to care what 16 cackling SJWs on Twitter think. Like, who cares? But he let it get to him. He apologized. Now his career is let's say his career, he was already retired, but his legacy has been severely damaged because of it. Yeah. And it's sad because it didn't have to happen. And for every story of his, there's like 10 others that just a ton of them. That's why Vox Day has a book about it called SJWs Always Lie. And it's very revealing because we all deal with them, whether we know it or not. And there's certain 3 phases they always go through. They always lie. They always project, and they always double down. They always lie, whatever it is. There's always a lie attached to it. Then you call them on it, they double down on the lie. And then when you call them on that, they project their horseshit onto you. So if they're calling you racist, that means they're racist because that's how they feel. And it's just so predictable. You can just see it. I mean, you can see it on Facebook every day. It's so predictable. It's very amusing, actually.
Right. One of my guys, when we were discussing, or I asked him if he had anything he wanted to add, and he mentioned that there's kind of a silver lining to this harsh and divisive environment that's a gift. And he said that it's easier than ever to identify real friends and real connections.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And he mentioned that the overstimulated shadow is so embarrassing to look at that anyone with a glimmer of awareness can shake off the SJW hypnosis in time.
Yeah.
And that's something beautiful. And in my life, I've surrounded myself with these types of people, or if they're not there yet, then the stuff I offer helps get them to that level of some glimmer of awareness in their own life, so you start replacing worry and fear and complaining with fun, as you and I have talked about multiple times from multiple different angles. And and when you surround yourself with other people who are doing their mission, and their mission happens to correlate with yours, it's like a lot of this bullshit just falls away, and then you can spot it before you get too involved with somebody who's going to drag you down in that way as well.
Well, I mean, it's just the thing is these types of people feed off of drama. They feed off your fear. It just empowers. That's why when you apologize, you basically they were like Mario. Now they're like Mario with the power-up mushroom and the fireball, with a hammer and with the immunity of invulnerability star, right?
Right.
and that's why you just never get. You don't. Even if you did something wrong, you just don't apologize to these idiots because they don't really care about any of the things they virtue signal about. In fact, it's funny to watch them turn on each other, trying to out virtue signal each other. It's very funny. I love watching it. And they'll even attack each other for not being virtue signal enough.
Oh, wow.
And so I honestly think they're losing power already. I don't think people take them nearly as seriously as they used to. Political correctness, I think, and this probably has a lot to do with Trump being elected. People realize it's okay, to have an opinion, and you're not going to ever get attacked as much as he does. Mm-hmm. But you notice he doesn't care. He feeds off it. He gets bigger and more powerful. He's kind of like Sebastian Shaw in X-Men First Class, right? It's like all these people are hitting him, and he's just getting stronger and stronger, absorbing the kinetic energy, and eventually he's going to let it loose. And I believe that'll be the 2020 election. And by the way, I say this to someone, I didn't even vote for him. I'm just observing this. And I didn't vote for any of these people, actually. I just say this as an observation. They're just making him more powerful. Mm-hmm. The more lies and deceit you have to use against your enemy, if they know what they're doing, they're going to absorb that kinetic energy, let it build up, and eventually they're going to let it loose back on you, and it ain't going to be pretty.
Yeah. Well, there's something powerful about this, too, that comes to mind, is that between you and I, and then hopefully for the people listening in both of our audiences, that it's okay to bring up somebody, whether you support the person or not, or whether they're irrelevant in your own life, but to learn or to use them as an example. But the idiots without any awareness are going to, Ben Settle's a Trump supporter, and then turn off their mind and start repeating whatever templated reactions they have to that before and they won't even have heard you say, by the way, I didn't vote for any of these people. I didn't either. And so I feel free to learn from everyone and from anyone. I don't give a shit what they support or what. Yeah, me too. I know. It's just like it's almost dumbfounds me that people can't think just a little bit and then open themselves up to learn from everything they see from everyone, and that doesn't mean you support the person.
Well, I have a. It's funny you bring this up because I just wrote an email for next week, from Monday, July 9th. I know this will be probably listened to well after that, but it's okay. And the subject line is El Bembo derangement syndrome, because last week I wrote an email mentioning a mistake Trump made, actually, I think, that made him look needy. Mm-hmm. And this guy emails me back thinking I'm like a Trump fanboy. Oh, I caught you. And he goes on and on saying all this stuff that's just not demonstrably or factually true, right, about Trump. And it's not my job to defend Trump, but I took it and I turned it into an email, and I'm like, these people are literally deranged. And if you want to take your derangement on me, that's fine. I don't mind. Right. But it was the same thing. It's like I learned from all these guys. I learned from Obama. I learned from Bill Clinton. I've learned what not to do from some of these people. Like Bush, I think was such a pushover. I don't ever want to be like that. Jimmy Carter is exactly what I don't want to be in life. And on and on and on it goes. You can learn. In fact, I did an email about like presidents a few months ago, going all the way back to George Washington and through now, like which ones I think are the ones to study. And there are a lot of ones I don't agree with on there. Mm-hmm. And doesn't mean I like them. But if you can't learn from your ideological enemies who are successful at what they do, you're behind the 8 ball, or behind whatever that phrase is. You're behind the ball, and behind the whatever it's called, and that's not good. So,
no, I was thinking about this. It's funny because before we started talking, when I was first making notes, I was even catching my mind hesitating about saying certain things, and then I wrote them down and said, "Fuck that," because I'm not going to play that game at all. But I started listening to. So for one day, I'm listening to Doug Stanhope, and he's got some views I don't agree with, but I love the way he brings stuff up. I think he's hilarious. But he pushes the envelope in all different directions. And then the next day I listened to probably 20 different Ben Shapiro videos. And there's many things I completely disagree with the guy about. But I loved watching him and the way he would handle crowds and the way he handled attacks and the way he carried himself constantly, aware and reframing the arguments and never slipping in what he had to present. And even being relatively respectful even while he was on the attack. But I thought if I try to make a post about it on Facebook and not completely contextualize the thing, then I get slaughtered by half the people who see it, you know?
Yeah, well, Facebook is like a petri dish of, morons. It's like people never have a voice in their real life, so they come on Facebook and act like internet tough guys. And, I think it's fun just to incite them, just to purposely try to, just let them say whatever they're going to do. Like the other day, I posted a thing about, here's a woman who's got happiness in her life. I know that pissed a bunch of people off, and that's good. I want their emotions. If they give you their emotions, that means you basically control them.
Right.
And if people want to give me control of them, that's fine. It's like in Wing Chun, you throw a punch at me. If I know what I'm doing, that punch becomes mine. I can do whatever I want with that energy. Right. And, and that's the thing. So, there's a lot to be said by getting emotions from somebody. And what's that saying? If someone's angry at you, you're basically living rent free in their head. I kind of like the thought of that.
Ooh, yeah, that's a nice one.
I like the thought of that, actually.
One of the things Bill Burr said today that I thought was he was talking about fighting with his girlfriend and stuff, and I've had many a relationship where I
is that the girl he ended up marrying?
I think so. I couldn't quite.
That girl's such a bitch. I don't know how he puts up with it.
I know. I couldn't put together from the timelines because I was flipping around different videos who he was talking about, but it was like.
Like a major SJW, basically.
Yeah, and the time that she had punched him with this two-fisted punch in the face, and he hit his head on the bathtub or some shit, and he was saying that he finally figured out how to handle these arguments in his relationships, and that it was. He said if she's saying the craziest shit that's making you want to just smack her down. He's like it's like the end of a football game where you're 45 points ahead. And they're just trying some Hail Mary at the end. You already know you won, so just take it easy and realize that.
It's very true. In fact, what you do if she's being hysterical is you just become ice cold, ice cold and logical and dismissive, and you got to live your life. If you need to go, I understand. There's the door. Yeah, not mean, but just cold. And she ain't going anywhere because she Patrice O'Neill used to talk about this. The late Patrice O'Neill. He's like, look. They need your emotions. That's how they feed on emotions. If you don't give her emotions, she has to feed on her own emotions. And then she'll calm down. But if you sit there and try to match her emotion to emotion, you're going to lose. Like these guys who yell at their women and stuff, they're losing. They're just strengthening her. They're feeding her. They're nourishing her. It's like they've become Sebastian Shaw and they're just giving her all this energy to use against him. So,
right.
But that's the way I look at it, at least.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating topic, all of these things. I think I came across, I must have taken a little photo of it when I don't remember if it was in book 6 or 7 in the Enoch Wars. I'm in the final one now.
Nice.
Lucifer's Favorite. It might have been in there, But yeah, I think you used some of that quote about, or some paraphrase of that idea.
I'm certainly not kind to SJWs in that book, am I?
No, certainly not. Oh, that's right. There was the rally.
That was my favorite. And of course, I did all that as exaggerating on purpose as possible because I only need to go out with a bang.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. That was. I laughed a lot. I guess I'm not supposed to laugh at that, but it certainly was very.
I'm
very,
glad to know you did.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, the chief out there. Oh my God. Yeah, we'll let people get the books and check those out for themselves. They're definitely a lot of fun. I really enjoyed. And there's places I disagree with you in there, or not with you because I know it's fiction, so I don't know what your personal.
I can say whatever I want, and I have plausible deniability with everything.
Exactly.
Fiction.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone who writes fiction should claim that, and stake that claim, and hold on to it because that keeps fiction relevant and alive and beautiful, and you can. Yeah, it does not have to reflect the author, and I think SJWs ruin their own writing and their own fiction.
Nobody reads it. It's
No.
just horse shit. It's like it's all, yeah. Oh crap. I got to get going here in a few minutes.
That's all right.
Fast.
Yeah, I know. It always does. We could go on and on, but we'll do another one soon. There's other topics we can bring up that I think are really fun and relevant. But well, let's try to end with some sort of. What do you think a man or a woman could do? I know it's two separate things, but you mentioned one thing, that women who are more, over here in Croatia, they would say normal. When someone's just chill and you can interact with them, they call that, oh, well, that guy's normal. He's cool. What can a normal woman or man do to navigate their way through all this? Like these women that are having trouble even getting investors or meeting with men, or the men who are afraid to even interact with women anymore. What's a person to do in this state to kind of move their way out of that?
Well, in the long term, they have to start holding each other accountable. But in the short term, you just gonna have to do what you got to do. If that means you can't meet alone with them, then you can't meet alone with them. You have to adapt. Mm-hmm. You got to be like Bruce Lee during a fight. You got to be like water. You just got to be able to be. You have to be adaptable anyway. Yeah. What would people do if Facebook was taken away? A lot of people don't know the answer to that. They should be all adaptable. For guys, it's pretty simple. Just focus on your mission. Just focus on your mission. Don't get caught up in bullshit. Try to avoid it at least, unless of course your mission is like exploiting that bullshit, of course. And understand that when you do that, your happiness is going to trickle down to other people in your life, and some people aren't going to like it, some will, and just do your thing. And I don't know, that's not like the most Yoda like wise advice you probably ever heard, but that's all I got.
No, I think that's really good. Yeah. And then for the women, I think, like you said, holding each other accountable when they notice people making spurious accusations or getting out of hand or getting hysterical, then to
And there are women who do that, by the way. And I should say this. I know I've seen several of them do mm-hmm. that, where they are doing that. And I hope that becomes a thing. I really do, because I think it's important, and I commend them because it's self-preservation for them, and it's just the right thing to do. So. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, pretty much all of my female friends fit into that category of either on a spectrum of either ignoring and making fun of the thing entirely, all the way to calling people out on it and saying, "Come on, we've all known, we've all had lots of guy friends. We know how guys are, and it's not how you're making it sound."
Yeah.
And
maybe they just shouldn't hang out with guys. Just hang out with girls then.
Right.
The problem is, girls don't even like each other. So it's like so that's why I think they like to hang with guys, because we don't bring the same cat fights and all that crap that they have to deal with each other. So I don't know, that's another thing Patrice O'Neill says. How do you expect us to like you? You don't even like each other.
Right. Right.
So anyway, on that note, I should probably get going before I say anything else too.
All right, man. Well, it's great to catch up, and to hopefully we bring some folks some relief and give some different angles here. But it's always fun, always a pleasure to have you on the show. For people who want to check out more from Ben, just go to, is it emailplayers.com?
bensettle.com.
Or bensettle.com. Okay, bensettle.com. And then it sounds like from what you said at the beginning, you might be putting out some new stuff soon. So that's exciting. And like we mentioned, check out the Enoch Wars. Those are some of my favorite books that I've read recently. I think it's the only fiction books I've read recently, actually, is that entire series. And highly recommend it. Lots of fun. And don't blame me if you get upset by reading them. But
you can blame me. It's okay.
Yeah, blame Ben. He'll take the heat for those, and you can blame me for the stuff I put out. But anyway, great to have you on, and we'll talk again soon. So have a wonderful night.
All right, you too, man. See you later.
All right, take care.